It's here and it's early by a couple of days. Rains have lashed the southern coast of Kerala and the southwest monsoon has well and truly arrived. Good evening and welcome to this special show. Monsoon is here. I'm Lata Venkatesh. With me is Prashant Nair, and over the next 30 minutes, we will bring you an array of agri companies, economists and market experts to find out what an above average monsoon can mean for the industry, for the economy and for the markets. But before that, Prashant, monsoon crucial for markets, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you can count the sectors on your fingertips in terms of the most impacted sectors. Autos, cement, consumer staples. I mean, those are the three big sectors which every monsoon season kind of get played up one way or the other. But before we get into specifics, I just want to highlight and outline what has happened so far, right? So this is the prediction which will come up on your screen. The IMD is predicting a normal monsoon. Essentially, it's saying that monsoons are going to be deficient by 4%. By their they classify a 4% deficient rainfall season as normal. So, I mean, that is essentially the technical aspect of it. What happened last year, that is financial year 17, in FY17, we had a normal monsoon. The IMD, when it first put out the prediction for financial year 17 in April of 2016, said that monsoons will be surplus. They'll be about 104 to 106% of normal average. We ended up with a normal monsoon season in financial year 17. But that came after 2 years of severe drought. That is FY15 and FY16, we had actually pretty severe drought. Many have been kind of talking about the fact that the IMD has gotten, at least directionally, much better in terms of calling the monsoon. Maybe not the quantum of it, but directionally, it's got it right over the last couple of years. And we've had many ups and downs, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, Lata.
Absolutely. Well, just a point to add in terms of stock markets, the monsoon is a very good volatility play. But if you looked at the numbers to GDP, then actually we need to play up monsoon so much. One, because agri, which normally includes agriculture, forests and fisheries, is 17% of GDP. In this 17%, 60% is agriculture. So as an input to GDP itself, it is about 10-11%. So a bad monsoon can take it down to 9%. But it really is not very germane to the GDP because some part, of course, Rabi harvest is somewhat drought-proofed. It's more Kharif, which is completely rain-fed. So while monsoon is a great volatility play for the markets, its importance should be put in perspective. But we have our guests with us. In fact, we have an array of guests joining us. We will be joined in a bit by Ramesh Iyer, the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Mahindra Financial Services, Abhimanyu Sofat, the Vice President Research at IIFL. Immediately, Mr. Siraj Hussain, former Agriculture Secretary and a Senior Fellow at Indian Council of Research on International Economic Relations, that is ICRIER, is with us. And we are also going to be joined by G. Vijay Kumar, the CFO at Kaveri Seeds, all companies who will be impacted by the monsoons. But first, Mr. Siraj Hussain, let me come to you, sir. Good evening. Thanks for joining. Well, first up, what is the sense you have made of the initial forecasts of the IMD? Is this likely to mean a lot more rural prosperity and therefore a lid on agri-food prices as well?
Good evening. Of all the forecasters, I think IMD has the best capability to forecast monsoon behavior. However, we should realize that the science behind monsoon is not yet fully developed and absolutely is not foolproof. So there may be a little variation, but assuming that the monsoon is normal, we should be very happy. We should be thankful to farmers who will make best use of the monsoon rains and give us good harvest. However, I would like to emphasize that last year, when the monsoon was normal, we had deficient rains, deficient monsoon in southern states. If we take Kerala, it had the worst monsoon in last 100 years. Tamil Nadu, worst in last 150 years. Karnataka, worst in the last 50 years. The entire South India is reeling under drought. So even though at the national level we say that the monsoon was normal last year, these four southern states had very poor rainfall. So in my view, the need of the hour is that there should be huge effort to conserve every drop of water which can irrigate our crops.
Mr. Hussain, would the normal monsoon, I mean, at aggregate national level, would it have alleviated the stress of the previous two severe droughts, sir? I mean, so where are we at when we talk about this monsoon, financial year 18? I mean, can we look at it afresh, or would you say that, the lingering effects of the two droughts in 15 and 16 will still be felt?
No, the areas in which the monsoon was normal last year have no residual impact of drought in the previous 2 years, because the residual moisture was good even in Rabi last year. So we should be fine in these areas if the monsoon is normal. However, in the southern states, as I mentioned, we are absolutely dependent on this monsoon to have a good paddy crop and other millets, etc., because the farmers are reeling under very bad conditions.
Okay. Mr. Hussain, you were personally responsible for putting together the ENAM, the Electronic National Marketing Network for agri products. How much of products are drought-proof, you would say? Would you say food prices, in spite of the two droughts, did not rise too much? So do you think the impact of drought is more farmer distress rather than really a national inflation problem?
No, in some commodities it does cause inflation. For example, in 14-15 drought, we saw the arhar tur prices rising up to about 180 to 200 rupees in retail market. In case of paddy and wheat, because of the FCI having central pool stocks, we can meet the requirement of the country through PDS. In case of wheat, the global supplies are very good, global prices are low, so we can always import wheat if necessary. However, monsoon has impact on other things like cotton, oil seeds, other commercial crops, other pulses. So and then it causes huge farmers' distress. You see, we have to realize that the average income of farmer is just about 6,500 rupees a year. So the amount of distress it causes to farmers is not really reflected in numbers.
Okay, sir, since the South is clearly economically more well-off than the North, do you think that if the monsoons were to be normal in the southern states, the three states you mentioned, it could be an outsized advantage to the economy?
It will be a huge advantage, actually. In any case, as we know, the southern states have a higher per capita income, better indicators of governance, and their agriculture has also shown resilience in the last decade or so because of good MSP for paddy, and also there is good diversification. Farmers have taken to growing cotton, GM cotton, even though there is controversy about cotton all the time. So if the monsoon rains are good in southern India, I expect that they will have a very good harvest of paddy, millets, cotton, etc.
Mr. Hussain, thank you very much, sir, for joining us, and great getting that perspective. Lata, actually, we were talking about the southern states. Tamil Nadu, Andhra and Karnataka are 3 out of the 5 states which make up about 60% of small loans given to farmers. So, as you were saying, and Mr. Hussain also pointed out, the impact could be disproportionate if the rainfall actually comes in better. I think we have Mr. Ramesh Iyer now joining us to take some questions. Needs no introduction. He's, of course, boss at M&M Financial Services. Mr. Iyer, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We are discussing the onset of monsoon season and what it could do for growth, growth impetus. So for India Inc., how big a variable do you think are monsoon rains for growth for assessing growth prospects?
So, we do a lot of work in the rural market, and our experience is that, monsoon plays 2 roles. One, of course, it drives the entire sentiment positive. So that's very, very important from a rural perspective. I think 2 is the fundamental fact that a good monsoon leads to a good farm cash flow. And that's the real driver, if you may call, from a rural market perspective. So I would think for any organization which is focused in rural and for rural to demonstrate growth, I think monsoon is extremely important.
Okay, Ramesh, two bad monsoons and then demonetization. It must be pretty bad in terms of rural indebtedness. Can you tell us whether rural indebtedness got alleviated in FY17 or is it still very bad?
So, rightly said, we had back-to-back bad monsoon and major markets went through difficult, and we witnessed almost during that period how buying really comes down, whether it is consumer durables, whether it is vehicles, tractors, whatever. See, the buying does come down very clearly. And from a financials perspective, even the repayment starts to suffer in that market. And, it's not always necessary that the customer doesn't have money. And as I said, sentiments drive rural markets, and monsoon is an important event which drives the sentiment positive. So people start storing to get better ready for future rather than spend everything today. So that's one clear impact that we see if the monsoons weren't good. And then you look at the year gone by, we had a great monsoon and we did see the yields were good. Therefore, the overall cash flow was good. And then we saw between January and March, both the crops, November crop as well as the January crop was good, and therefore the overall cash flow was very, very good, I would think, in most of the market. And the results were there to see how the buying improves, the overall consumption improves. Even from our point of view, how our recovery improves, the NPS come down. So I would very strongly think that good monsoon is definitely a good news from a rural point of view.
Digressing a little bit, Mr. Iyer, but keeping the moral hazard question aside, do you believe that all this talk about farm loan waivers, the state of UP announced one, 36,000 crores, there are other large states potentially considering one. Do you think that is going to be an important development to track from the perspective of assessing rural consumption power?
No, so, why do loan waivers get given? It is not for what you expect in future to be good, but for what people have suffered from the past. And therefore, if the consumers who are at the low end are given these kind of waivers, definitely it's a great help to them. And then they get into the new season with maybe a lot of positivity. And if the monsoon turns out to be good, their ability to borrow possibly fresh for seeds, fertilizers, etc. do happen. But I think it's also important to therefore understand that the waiver of loan happens to what segment of customer for what types of loan. And I'm sure the process takes care of that requirement. My belief would be that if the right set of consumers do get the kind of waiver because of their past debt, I think we prepare them for future consumption. And if the monsoon happens to be good, as I said, they will reach out for better consumption going forward.
All right, Mr. Iyer, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us. We have to take a break. We are coming back with Mr. Vijay Kumar of Kaveri Seeds and Abhimanyu Sofat of IIFL.